Welcome back to This Week Down the Frozen River Podcast alongside Colby Kephart, Connor Keith. I'm Nick Lanciani. So we haven't talked about the standings in a little while. And by that I mean it's been a few weeks at the very least. And since we're not going to have a podcast next week, happy Thanksgiving, preemptively. Let's take a look around the NHL, beginning with the Atlantic Division, where the Montreal Canadiens lead the standings with 30 points. Ottawa Senators are second with 23 points. Tampa Bay Lightning third with 21 points. Detroit Red Wings fourth with 20 points. The Boston Bruins fifth with 19 points, a 9-8-1 record. They edge out the Florida Panthers, who also have 19 points. Panthers are in sixth with an 8-8-3 record. Buffalo Sabres seventh with 18 points, 8-9-2 record, and the Toronto Maple Leafs in eighth in the Atlantic Division with 16 points. Only 6 wins on the season, 9 losses and 4 overtime losses. Any of this surprise anyone?
Well, I mean, I kind of talked about it earlier. I feel like a lot of it's still up for grabs. There's not that much difference between, I believe it's the second place team and the 7th place team. It's only a matter of, I think 5 points, maybe even less.
7.
Heck, throw in 7 because if you want to throw in Toronto into it.
Toronto to Ottawa is 7.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's a really tight division. I feel like it could still change. Maybe Boston can squeeze it up into a division spot. Maybe Detroit will fall off. Who knows? It'll be pretty interesting to see. Like I said, still think it's really close.
And in the Metropolitan Division, you have the Metropolitan Division leading New York Rangers atop the standings with 30 points. Washington Capitals second in the division with 25 points. Pittsburgh Penguins third with 24 points. New York Islanders fourth with 23 points. New Jersey Devils fifth with 21 points. Philadelphia Flyers sixth with 17 points. Carolina Hurricanes 14 points on the season are in 7th by virtue of having had a couple of overtime losses. You'll notice their record's 6-10-2, whereas the Columbus Blue Jackets are in 8th in the division, 14 points. Their record's 7-13-0. So they have one more win, but they don't have the overtime losses to kind of surpass the Hurricanes. But anything surprising out of that division?
I mean, we knew it was going to be a tight division. Definitely of the two in the Eastern Conference, this one was going to be the most competitive. I mean, that being said, though, the Atlantic is obviously pretty tight as well. I mean, of the two of them, still, though, this is definitely the most competitive. I think Jersey's a pleasant surprise. They're in the second wild card spot right now, as well as Philadelphia. I mean, if they could figure out their goaltending, they might be able to cause a ruckus. But with Neuwirth going down and them trying to stay committed to the other, it's bonkers going on in Philly, which it has been forever with the crease.
I think the other surprise is actually seeing Rangers at the top. I definitely thought that was going to be a Washington spot. Rangers had that big long run. I think that's what puts them. They deserve to be there. Still a really good team. But
I'm not jumping off the Washington bandwagon though this year yet. Though I think Washington's still a very solid team and will come together.
I'm not saying that by any means. They're definitely still going to be a strong team.
And to recap for standings wise, if you're looking forward towards the playoffs. In the Atlantic Division, the top 3 teams are Montreal, Ottawa, and Tampa Bay in that order. Metropolitan Division, it's New York Rangers, Washington Capitals, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. The current wildcard spots, the first spot is held by the New York Islanders, second spot held by the New Jersey Devils, as Connor just noted. You can figure out the matchups on your own and who you think will win. We won't be too concerned about who would win until it's at least April, because that makes sense.
It's still a ways away.
Yeah.
Let's take a look out west. The Central Division. Dallas Stars currently sit atop that division with 32 points. St. Louis Blues are in second with 27 points. Nashville Predators with 25 points are in third. Fourth, the Minnesota Wild with 23 points. Fifth, the Chicago Blackhawks also with 23 points. If you note there, the Wild have a 10-5-3 record. The Blackhawks have an 11-7-1 record, thereby relegating them to 5th in the division by virtue of fewer overtime losses, whereas the Wild have 3. 6th, the Winnipeg Jets, 20 points. Yeah, 20th, there we go. And 7th, the Colorado Avalanche with 15 points. Anything surprising from that division?
Again, a super competitive division. I think that one's a little bit easier said in this conference versus the other. I don't know if there's so much surprises as much as it's just Chicago not... I don't know if I expected Chicago to be in that last wild card spot. Again, it's early in the season still in the grand scheme of things. But I don't know if I expected Chicago to be drawing the second wild card spot yet, but there's still a lot of time to move around. These guys, short of Dallas, these guys are hopping around every other night anyway, jumping from second in the division to the first wild card. You know, it's all in flux. It should just be panning out for more competition in the league, in the division.
I mean, I think ultimately you're going to see Chicago move up out of the wild card spots, and Nashville, Winnipeg, Minnesota, I think will compete for the wild card spots out in that West. I think that's going to be the three competing for when it comes down to playoff time.
Follow-up question, do the Blackhawks escape third, or are they second? Where do you see them falling in line in the division?
Okay, well, I think Dallas is going to stay at top.
I think that's a safe bet.
So it's between St. Louis and Chicago. Maybe down the line, if obviously Jake Allen's played really good lately, but if down the line, Crawford or even Chicago gets hot, maybe you could see them eventually pass the Blues, but probably the Blues hanging on.
Yeah, I don't know. The Blues, I mean, we just watched the Blues-Sabres game tonight. Colby and I had a good time watching that.
Loud as heck.
What's that?
Loud as heck.
Am I?
No, I was talking about
watching
during
the game. Yeah, we were having a good time.
Things got emotional here.
It got a little wild. Yeah, shootouts are always fun.
There's holes in St. Louis's game. But,
I agree.
But
Sabres found something.
There's still a lot.
They're still a good team.
Yeah, every time Tarasenko got the puck, I was freaking out because let's face it, he's a monster. I mean, he proved it tonight. As soon as he got the puck for the goal he scored, I was like, yep, goal.
Yep.
You knew it.
Suddenly, we're Blues and Sabres game recap.
Yeah. I mean,
Can we get
it was
Rick
a fun
Jeanneret
game
on?
to watch. But I haven't gotten to see I don't think I've fully watched an entire Nashville game yet. And it, with just watching the other games as well as school getting in the way.
And the fact that the gold buckets on Saturdays are...
Yeah, we're not watching
I
that.
can't
either.
watch that.
Not
I
watching
mean,
that.
I'm all for the gold jerseys that they have, but I think
They need to go
the
with the blue
gold
buckets.
helmet is overbearing.
Oh, dude, I can't stand it. I told you every time I watch their highlights, it'll just stop.
Well, we're falling apart, but we still need to get further west. Can we move on to that?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah,
go
probably
down
should.
and-
Just I think Chicago could jump in over Nashville. I think that's really what I'm going for, though.
All right, at this point, the Pacific Division, the Los Angeles Kings lead the division first with 24 points, San Jose Sharks second with 22 points, Arizona Coyotes third with 21 points, Vancouver Canucks fourth with 20 points, fifth the Anaheim Ducks with 18 points, sixth the Calgary Flames with 15 points, and seventh the Connor McDavid list, because he's on the injured reserve, Edmonton Oilers with 13 points. Any big surprises, major takeaways from the Pacific Division?
I'm kind of surprised LA is still at the top. Don't get me wrong, they deserve it. They're playing really good hockey right now. Everyone out there is finally clicking. Lucic has kind of found his spot, and I think that second line role, maybe third line role. I think it's surprising that they went from not make the playoffs last year to top of the division.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make a note. Sportsnet had a great, about 5-minute little documentary type of one-on-one interview with Milan Lucic. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out.
If I want to continue, keep analyzing, and I think Anaheim's starting to make that climb. And I think it's only a matter of time before they are in a playoff spot. That's just my opinion. That obviously you're not looking wild card here, but you're looking for them to take that divisional spot, and I think they'll get it eventually. Vancouver's kind of on the downward spiral, which fans maybe got excited seeing them in the playoff spots early on, but I kind of knew it by their offseason it wasn't going to look good.
It wasn't going to last, right? I mean, I think I might be technically jumping the gun, so I hate to force your hand here, Mr. Producer, but Anaheim was my honorable mention. I mean, they started. Obviously, they started.
You can't do that.
Well, you know what? You're just gonna need to get over it because I'm taking it.
Well, we'll readdress it in a moment, so you're gonna have to say it again.
That's fine. They, like Colby said, they're definitely on the upswing. I mean, it's kind of hard not to be on the upswing when it was 6-7 straight games. They at the beginning of the year, it was not a good thing. But in the same turn, I mean, I was insistent. Anaheim's gonna turn it around, and especially in a division like that, they have to, and they are. They're only 3 points out right now behind an Arizona team, which actually beat Montreal tonight, so that's good for them. But they're going to hop in. They're going to make it happen.
Just to recap, in the Western Conference, the division leaders in the Central Division, you have Dallas first, St. Louis second, Nashville third. Pacific, you have LA first, San Jose second, Arizona third. Wild card spots currently, the Minnesota Wild have the first spot, the Chicago Blackhawks have the second spot. Colby, I know you're ready to say something.
I was just going to go on off the Anaheim thing. I think a lot of their success lately is Corey Perry actually starting to score.
Yeah.
It's helping Connor's fantasy team, but I think he's finally found his mark. He's starting to hit the back of the net, and he's getting help from Getzlaf and the rest of the guys. They're finally starting to click. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much Hagelin's really playing into this like people thought he would, but I'm just good to see Corey Perry getting back to his ways.
And our fantasy league's kind of doing pretty well for our original 6 matchups are back to the Week 1 matchups. Colby and Connor are going at it, and they're having a great time.
Oh, it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
And just one more remark on that Lucic thing. I know a lot of people hate me on Lucic for the player that he is on the ice, Colby included. But it's to me, it's one of the fascinating things about sports is that you can always go back and watch documentaries, see who they are, how they are off the ice, and just learn their mindset. So definitely check it out if you're interested in that. You have a passion for maybe doing some hockey writing someday. Anyway, winners and losers. Let's get to that fun segment. We revived it. The winners this week, we have the Ottawa Senators, 9-5-5. They are second in the Atlantic Division on the rise, doing pretty well. New York Rangers, 14-3-2. The Dallas Stars, 16-4-0. They still have not lost a game in overtime. Then again, neither have the Pittsburgh Penguins, Columbus Blue Jackets, Los Angeles Kings, or San Jose Sharks.
If you're in the same
So
category
don't
as
think
the Blue
you're that
Jackets-
special.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're in the same category as the Blue Jackets, you're not doing anything that spectacular.
So any major takeaways there from our winners category?
Well, if I'm just going to touch on all of them real quick.
Go for it.
I'd just say Ottawa's kind of gotten their offense figured out. Obviously, the big injury tonight to Bobby Ryan. We'll touch more on that in a second. The Rangers went on that big winning streak. Obviously saw it end tonight. And Dallas Stars, I'm sorry, this team is amazing. When you have 3 players well over double digits in points and just one's a defender, John Klingberg, and you got the Sagan and Ben.
Sagan and Ben, yeah, all they do is tear you up.
Yeah.
That's all they want to do.
They haven't shown any signs of being shaky in any department. I mean, we know the Montreal Canadiens have had Carey Price out of the lineup a little bit. Mike Condon stepped in as
He's done very
a decent
Okay.
goalie for the past few weeks, but
This continues.
why are the Canadians not in our winner list? I know that you're probably going to mention that.
No. If this
Or not.
continues, do we have to consider one of and it comes down, they play like this all year, do we have to consider one of those 2 for MVP at the end of the season?
Are you talking about Price and Condon?
No, I'm talking
Or are you
about
talking about Dallas? Ben and Sagan?
Ben and Sagan. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
You want a co-MVP or just
So
one?
No, you have to pick one of them.
Oh.
So if you're
Okay.
talking Hart Trophy predictions, let's just throw Louis Eriksson into this with his hat trick tonight. No. But anyway, so
Not considering
Slightly
that at all.
optimistic.
Jamie Benn or Colin Miller, Jamie Benn or Tyler Sagan.
I'm sorry if they continue all year. It's hard to be able to choose. I think I'm gonna go with the captain. I think he does more defensively than Sagan. Sagan's been working on his defensive game.
He's got a more all-around game.
But
I would have to agree. I'd go with Ben as well.
I'd go with Ben.
I mean, Ben, for this pure sake of goals are nice at the end of the day, but getting assists is just as nice as well. And if he could make a case for being the Art Ross Trophy winner again, then he's definitely made a case for being the Hart Trophy winner.
But it's just good to see someone like Tyler Sagan, how young he is, and this is a breakout year.
Yeah.
And I understand he's had really decent seasons. That obviously really helped the Bruins when they won the Stanley Cup, and even last year he was kind of successful. He was kind of successful last season in Dallas, but this year, man, he's a force to be reckoned with.
And in our loser category, we have the Carolina Hurricanes 6-10-2, Vancouver Canucks 7-7-6, and the Edmonton Oilers 6-12-1. Is anyone really surprised by the 2006 Stanley Cup finalists being in our loser category
I mean,
at this point?
obviously, the biggest loss for the Edmonton Oilers is not so much the lack of success, but Connor McDavid. I mean, he was the team.
Fun
He
fact.
was the offense of that team, and him going down is just too big an issue, I think, for them.
Fun fact, Edmonton now holds the number 1 spot to
Again.
maybe get Austin Matthews in the 2016 NHL entry draft. Now, Colby,
I would just like to say when we lost the draft lottery, I'm talking about the Sabres.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone said Edmonton was going to turn around. They went out in this offseason. They added defensemen like
Chiarelli
Sekera.
made moves like crazy.
Yeah, like Sekera,
Which is a rarity.
Gryba, whatever. And everyone was like, this is going to be a good team. This is going to be a good team. I wasn't buying on.
Well, they still don't. I would argue that they don't have a goaltender. They have Cam Talbot, who we know is a proven backup, but can he make the transition to starter? I don't think he has.
He's struggling, and I don't feel like they have that strong of a D. I'm sorry. Eric Gryba is a top 6, maybe. I don't consider him a top 4.
If you play him against Montreal, as he did often in his career with Ottawa, he played well against Montreal, but that was only because he can hit. He can't do much else.
Yeah, well, hitting's not much of the West game.
Exactly.
No offense to any of the West teams. They are a more skilled team.
Unless you're like the Los Angeles Kings. They're always one of the more physical teams of the West.
Well, when you have Dustin Brown, your captain, and all he does is hit, so.
Yeah, but I'm just talking from a defensive standpoint. But the Vancouver Canucks, we know, are on that list, and we addressed that based on they're beginning to fall through the standings.
Yeah.
the Hurricanes make the list this week instead of the Columbus Blue Jackets or the Toronto Maple Leafs or even Colorado Avalanche. Any reason why in particular, other than the attendance is continuing to struggle, other than the team's still up for sale?
Well, they may be dropping. There was a good piece of information. Noah Hannafin had his first career goal this week.
There's a highlight.
I mean, that's something.
They have a future, I guess.
This kid is gonna be kind of your future defense. But I believe Eric Stahl's a free agent at the end of the season, so that's gonna be a big money issue. This team is not in a good position.
They have the questions of: do they move Stahl? Do they move Cam Ward?
Do they move the franchise?
Do they even
You're just worried about people, man.
Do they have a future in Raleigh?
Carolina is...
Raleigh's just such a hard spot anyway. I mean, it needs to be in Charlotte.
Yeah, and that was what Nick
That's slightly unbiased.
made a lot of points on social media about this week was...
Here, I'll
needs
talk
to
about
be in Charlotte.
So basically, on any given night, you're only going to get about people within a 30-minute range from your venue to go to your venue from night to night basis type of thing. Raleigh is 2.5 hours away from Charlotte. Charlotte is North Carolina's most populated city, whereas Raleigh is the state capital.
Well, and it
So
also
the
has
issue
Durham
there is-
and Chapel Hill around it, but still.
Right, but you have to plan a trip to go 2.5 hours one way on a good day, and then 2.5 hours back.
Yeah.
That's a 5-hour trip for a 1-hour hockey game. Granted, that's not adding intermission to it, but
It also Charlotte's the fastest growing city. It's actually
one
of the
Charlotte's
fastest
home
growing
to the
cities.
Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, they're looking at adding an MLS team, maybe an expansion
The
MLB
MLS
team.
isn't coming.
But
We're not having that debate here.
end of the day, Charlotte is a better city in terms of getting behind support of a franchise.
Yeah, but see, you're gonna run into an issue. You got to get an owner who wants to bring them down here. There's also,
And a venue.
we don't need to get.
We'll save this
started.
for another day. for
Yeah,
hockey.
maybe that'll just be our topic one day.
So, honorable mentions this week. Colby, we have picked a loser. Connor has already.
I was going to say,
talked
I'll
about
go
Anaheim.
first because there's no suspense there. I've already brought up Anaheim. I mean, they're scoring. They're turning back to what the Anaheim we expected them to be.
Maybe Bruce Bruno
And-
won't be fired after all.
With the goaltending that has already proven itself throughout the season, even when they were losing, Anaheim is, I think, scary. Honestly, I mean, okay, maybe not scary yet, but knowing what they will turn into is frightening. I think for a lot of Western teams.
All right, so then I went with my honorable mention to be the Philadelphia Flyers. This is strictly their crease issues. I still feel like they need help offensively, but I think their main focus is their crease. Obviously, Neuwirth goes out again with another upper body injury, but Steve Mason is not a number one goalie. Everyone needs to know this, but Hackstall's still kind of backing him up, saying Mason's our number one. Mason's our number one. Mason can't be your number one. It's time to
Not when you don't have a number one.
trying to put that card back and draw a new one.
You have two number two goalies when Neuwirth's out of the lineup.
Yeah.
And speaking of being out of the lineup, is it time for an injury update?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have
Sit
nothing
down
else
for
to
a
say.
while, grab a drink because this was long.
So this one, is a long one. We have Paul Stastny close to returning to action in St. Louis. He's about another week or two away. Oli Mata was injured in a game, the Pittsburgh Penguins and
Scary
Minnesota
injury.
Wild.
Yeah.
I forget what day it was, but I remember
It was
speaking briefly about it in one of my classes.
Tuesday-ish, I think.
Yeah, it was Tuesday
I
because
think-
I was going to bring it up on Wednesday. That makes sense. More information that you didn't need to know. Teuvo Teravainen out of the Chicago Blackhawks lineup with an upper body injury. Colby has more on that day to day.
Day to day, just said he's looking to miss a few games. Nothing serious. I kind of went off everyone's radar, to be honest. A lot of people didn't see this coming. It wasn't an apparent injury. Maybe it's just something he picked up in practice.
And so this one, perhaps, Brandon Dubinsky of the Columbus Blue Jackets was placed on injured reserve. I know you.
I honestly haven't looked too far into this one. It's kind of surprising. I don't follow Columbus that closely, but obviously Dubinsky losing him is kind of a big loss.
Yeah, you're more apt to follow this team. Evander Kane and Zach Bogosian returned to the Buffalo Sabres lineup this week.
Well, they did their work against the Blues tonight.
Bogosian
Kane did.
Bogosian returned Tuesday night versus Dallas, and then Evander just returned tonight. Actually was in the shootout. He was missed, but he looks healthy. He's starting to throw his weight around, so it's good. Good to see him back.
Minnesota. Apologies to Minnesota and all their residents. That was not intentional. Minnesota Wild forward Jason Zucker injured against the Boston Bruins on Thursday night.
Tonight.
Which, I mean, no one's going to know what tonight is. So anyway, I'm giving you credit because you said Tuesday night. You recognize which day. Anyway, so Zucker was injured against the Boston Bruins. Matt Bolesky with a bit of a slash.
There's still a weird injury.
It was a weird injury because it didn't look to be that hard of a slash.
But
now, granted, slashing is bad to begin with.
Yeah.
We can have that conversation with Bolesky. But Zucker going down the way he went down.
It kind of reminds me of like a Brandon Prestish injury.
Yeah, I mean, what tendon did he potentially rupture there?
What just happened?
Did he break his femur? I mean, that wasn't a Chris Kelly play, but... I mean, obviously we'll know more in the coming days. Frank Vetrano also injured in the Boston-Minnesota matchup on Thursday night. Vetrano is out for Club Julian with a upper body injury. Bobby Ryan, also Thursday night action, Ottawa and Columbus. Bobby Ryan left the game late in the third period on a late interference hit from
maybe
David
a concussion. We're definitely going to say upper body just because, but his head did hit the boards.
Dr. Colby is in the house.
Not too sure if exactly that's what's wrong, but definitely needed help off the ice, so I'd look to see if it was a possible concussion.
I couldn't tell if it was leg even, but...
I don't know. He was acting funny.
We just couldn't tell how he was going off based on he was getting help on both sides.
I couldn't really see how it could have happened. Like, the hit didn't look too bad, but it was...
You want to go back to the Zucker thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
How did these people get injured?
But you never want to see a player need help off the ice.
Yeah, you don't want to see an injured, period. So, yeah. Michael Neuwirth of the Philadelphia Flyers, day-to-day as of Wednesday.
Yeah, we don't know if this is a repeat of the one he had earlier, or I think it was early October. No, late October, sorry.
Wouldn't surprise me being a goalie, the type of thing is you just re-aggravate whatever you had.
Yeah. Callahan also, I believe, is day-to-day.
Day-to-day in Tampa?
Not too sure what that situation's about.
All I know is it doesn't affect my fantasy team. I'm cutting him.
Yeah. He's just, obviously, we're starting to get almost 2 months in. Players starting to get, or a month in, sorry. And people are starting to get a little beat up. So, like Peranko tonight didn't play. Hitch reported that he was too sore to go tonight. So, just a bunch of players.
And in Detroit, Brad Richards is close to a return. Do we have any idea of when that will be?
I think it said he's day-to-day, looking to return this week or next week. I'm not 100% sure. Dmitry Kulikov, out 2 to 4 weeks. That's a big loss to the Florida defense. He's a crucial part there.
I mean, he might be their only defense. I mean, Willie Mitchell's good, too, and Aaron Ekblad certainly don't want to overshadow them. I know we caught the blue and gold feature on Matt Molson and Jack Eichel tonight, which I like to equate to the leadership that Willie Mitchell took, taking in Aaron Ekblad into his house during the season. I just find that to be one of the cool things in hockey.
Yeah.
Speaking of returns, though, Carey Price of the Montreal Canadiens returned to practice on Wednesday.
I think he's actually becoming healthy really fast. I don't know what their schedule looks like coming at the end of this week, but definitely would probably see him back next week if I had to guess.
And that brings us to a couple scheduling notes. In January, the 2016 NHL All-Star Game will take place at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee, home of the Nashville Predators. But this year, the All-Star Game's format might have a big spin on it. Word from the NHLPA, I forget who touched on this, if it was Bob McKenzie even, but some of the big guys from TSN touched on this through the NHLPA and mentioned that there will still be some type of player event on that Friday of All-Star Game weekend. Not necessarily in the form of the fantasy draft that they had in the past few years, because this year's All-Star Game format looking like it will be 3-on-3 hockey between the 4 divisions. So here's how it'll shake down. Essentially, it will be 3-on-3 teams from the Atlantic Division taking on the Metropolitan Division, or what have you. Right. Central Division taking on the Pacific Division. So they'll do 2 divisions, 20 minutes against one another. 2 divisions for the next 20 minutes against one another. The winners of both of those advance to the final 20 minutes of the All-Star Game. Supposedly, there might be some monetary incentives, but who knows? I mean, if you like scoring in the All-Star Game, this will probably have a lot more scoring, as if there wasn't enough scoring already. If you hate scoring in the All-Star Game, then you probably don't even watch the All-Star Game.
It's frustrating because I feel like the league made the right decision with going to 3-on-3 overtime. But now I think they're just trying to push 3-on-3 as
Yeah.
hard as they can.
Yeah.
And I think this is too much. I don't like this. I kind of like the draft.
We should put you in touch with Nick Kiprios of
Okay.
Hockey Central. You sound a lot like him. I don't like any of this. I don't like this. Anyway.
I'm not a fan. I don't think this is what they should be doing to push this 3-on-3.
Because I don't think that really fully shows people's skills. I mean, we were watching the 3-on-3 tonight,
It
the Blue
just
Sabres
shows
game.
a pickup game
It's-
of shinny.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, it's a roll of the dice, really, 3-on-3. Not to say that a better team's not better, but it's just
It's certainly more exciting than watching 5 minutes of overtime then going to a shootout and having
but-
it not be.
But
As
it's
exciting
still
as it
just a
could be.
roll of the dice. It's just one mistake can turn into a goal, which I get is it's hockey. But in the same turn, it's everything's magnified, and it's just not really showing that these guys are the best players in the world. It's showing that these guys are the best opportunists in the world, which I don't think is what they are.
Yeah, you're gonna see so many mistakes. Like it's gonna happen. You're gonna see. I think the other night, it was Arizona versus Anaheim. Getzlaf just tried a drop pass, got taken away, and scored. I don't want to watch that, and that was a huge mistake by Getzlaf. He knew he screwed up. I don't want to watch that in my All-Star game.
No.
So we already know that the All-Star Game's entertainment value has been declining since, well, it was invented. But actually, it was
Across
invented.
most
It was
sports.
invented for great reasons in the NHL, for some fundraising games for players that are injured. But then, once it got to the point of 1 million goals to 1 million goals,
Yeah.
that's
I'm
when it
not
became
watching
irrelevant.
But now you're asking for 1 million or 3 million goals and 3 million goals. Your scoring going to be ridiculous in this game.
So is it to the point where the league should just give up on tweaking that and focus instead more on the skills competition, which I happen to
Skills
think.
competitions are always cool.
However, the 2015 skills competition, that was a bit lackluster. I'm not saying anything against the talent, but I wasn't wowed. I feel like there are plenty of things that are getting
'Cause, I
boring.
mean,
They
look
need
at
to
all
shake
these
it
other
up.
things. Like the NBA, do you watch the NBA All-Star Game, or do you watch the dunk competition?
Yeah, I was going to say,
And
the
the
dunk
you-
competition.
Cup. I
Yeah,
watched
you
three.
watch Steph Curry shoot his J's, and then you watch guys jam it through. Like, I don't tune in to watch 150 to 145. That's crap. I want to see these guys show that the NHL is the best league in the world because it has the best players in the world, period. Nobody can touch that. The NBA's got the best players in the world. They can shoot J's all day. The NBA, it's just, I want to see great things happen. I think that's why we watch sports. We want to see great things happen, and the skills competition is a really cool way to make that happen.
So, but what's going to happen? Obviously no one takes the All-Star game serious. So are you going to see Alexander Ovechkin standing at the opposite blue line the whole game? Tell me. You win the puck.
Right.
Outline pass.
Yeah.
No, because Ovechkin just wants to score, so he's never going to play defense.
No, but that's not
Even in an All-Star game.
that's not where I'm going. So you could say that with anyone then. Anyone who makes the All-Star game. Is it going to be a strategy to just go stand at the blue line and receive the pass?
Right.
Because that's all it's going to be is 2-on-1 breakaway. 2-on-1 It's going to be ridiculous, and I wouldn't want to be a goalie.
I mean,
No.
I wouldn't be that upset about putting 3-on-3 in the skills competition even. If you think back in the day, they had the Young Stars game. I had a lot of fun watching the
I
Young Stars
loved
game.
watching the Young Stars.
Because it added something different. So if they were to take 3-on-3 format, division type of matchup, and implement it in some
Just a
way
little tournament sort of thing. I'd watch that, but I don't
Yeah.
think I want to watch that be my All-Star
for the
game.
All-Star game.
I don't want that to be my All-Star game.
But
So general consensus is keep tweaking the skills competition because that's where your main incentive is in getting viewers to watch it. But the All-Star game is kind of it's irrelevant at this point. Leave it alone.
this is not too much on topic really, but the Sabres for their
Are we ever on topic?
their prospects training camp, they do a 3-on-3 tournament. They divide everyone up and they divide the rink into thirds. So you have games going on at every end.
Okay.
So and
Brings it
if,
back to the minor league.
Yeah.
I mean, not even minor
so
league,
I'm
but
sorry,
bantam level.
I would love to watch a mini 3-on-3. I think that'd be awesome. I don't want to watch full as my whole All-Star game.
No.
Because what was it last year? Almost everyone scored in the All-Star game last year.
Pretty much.
There was 4 people who didn't.
It practically ended up being 20 to
And
20.
It's a joke.
It's
It's not hockey.
it's not bad, but
It's not hockey.
It's not something I want to watch. I want to watch close
I
competition.
mean, I've said it before. I'm a firm proponent of 0-0 scoreless going into overtime or a 1-0 game happening. I don't like scoring. Scoring's not what makes things exciting.
But for the most part, the All-Star game, if you make the game, or if you don't make the game, if you participate in that weekend in any form, because there's some guys that just play the skills competition, they don't, it's time off. And speaking of time off, the league is proposing a 5-day type of bye week for the NHL.
It's a vacation.
In late January, early February.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Just why?
Right.
I mean,
Well,
Connor and I talked about this before on air. Sorry, Colby, to cut you off. But Connor and I talked about it, and we've mentioned we're in favor of not disrupting the schedule. Hockey is a sport of you got 82 games, you got them all crammed in, however it's devised, and you got to live with it. I always hate when players get thrown off by the Olympics, which, hey, don't send NHL players to the Olympics in 2018. I'd be fine with that, because the World Cup of Hockey is coming back next year in September. But why would you have a bye week in the National Hockey League, especially if you have the Olympics at all and you already have that time off?
I kind of think I know a little bit. And what was the longest section we just had to cover? The injuries. And half these players are day to day. Maybe they just want people to be healthy. Like, I understand, don't get me wrong. I want teams who can go through a full 82-game series and be all battered and bruised and go to the playoffs and be like, we're still here winning games, whether they have everyone or not.
You're talking about chemistry, you're talking about just general sense of...
But I feel like they're afraid to lose money because, let's face it, Ovechkin goes day to day with an injury. Washington's going to lose some money there. Mm-hmm. The NHL is going to lose some money there because Ovechkin's not on the ice scoring goals. Maybe they just want players healthy. That's just my only thought on it.
I can see that. I've got two things about this, and hopefully I remember both of them after I get done. The first is, I don't know, I've brought it before that I'm a huge baseball fan, and just the rhythm of all that. I mean, you're playing every day, and same thing with hockey, basically. I mean, they're playing usually 3 or 4 games a week. Just sort of the rhythm. You get into that system, you know what to expect in a day, and it just helps build up that regularity in their lives. And I think you can see improvements in their game just as you can see a decline in their game when you mess up that rhythm, which I think that 5-day gap has the potential to do. Also, I just thought of this. I'm worried that if you add in this 5-day break, how that's going to affect the rest of the schedule. Is that going to turn into more
by the time that you play February and March, it's already hectic.
Right. I mean, is that going to turn to more 4-game weeks? Is that going to turn into the possibility of I think a scary 5-game week? You can't have that happen.
They probably wouldn't add on the back end. They'd add on the front end.
I mean, it's just
they'd
a
add
question
before
of
the break.
I mean, if 4 games are already rare in a week for most of these teams. I mean, I don't know the numbers on all that, but it's you usually don't see that very often. They try to keep it at 3 games a week for most teams. I get that every once in a while it has to be a 4, and you have to keep that even and stuff, but how many more increases in that? And then you're just asking for more injuries there, then you got guys exhausted. And so it's like, are we doing 6 of one, half a dozen of the other?
Yeah, if you're in my organization, you want time off, don't make the playoffs and go play golf, and then I'll be trading you.
Golf's good. I like golf. Not when you can't play in hockey, but I like golf.
Friday night, 6 games on the docket. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, the Nashville Predators taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets, Los Angeles Kings taking on the Detroit Red Wings, Montreal Canadiens taking on the New York Islanders. That will be on RDS in Canada. The Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Calgary Flames, the New Jersey Devils taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Saturday night, the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Boston Bruins. That will be on CBC, part of the Hockey Night in Canada, and on NHL Network if you're here in the United States. Philadelphia Flyers take on the Ottawa Senators. Anaheim Ducks take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. New York Rangers taking on the Florida Panthers. San Jose Sharks taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Colorado Avalanche taking on the Washington Capitals. Arizona Coyotes taking on the Winnipeg Jets. So the old Jets taking on the new Jets. The Detroit Red Wings taking on the St. Louis Blues. Buffalo Sabres taking on the Dallas Stars. Nashville Predators taking on the Minnesota Wild. And the Chicago Blackhawks taking on the Vancouver Canucks on the second half of the Hockey Night in Canada programming on CBC. The late game. So that's 11 games on the docket Saturday, 6 games on the docket Friday, and only 4 games on the docket on Sunday. The Los Angeles Kings and the Carolina Hurricanes taking one another on. San Jose takes on the Columbus Blue Jackets. The New York Islanders take on the Montreal Canadiens, which can be viewed on NHL Network in the United States and RDS in Canada. And finally, the New Jersey Devils taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Out of those 3 days, wrap this up real quick. Who do you got?
One day.
That's what we always do.
Well, I'll go. I'm just gonna be the Buffalo fan for a second. I'm going Buffalo Dallas Saturday night.
Because you still think it wasn't a goal.
No, I know it. Okay, you're going
no,
there.
I just
you're going there.
So I was just throwing in to humor people.
I'm not wearing a Brett Hull jersey.
Anyways, we just played Tuesday. Obviously, we 2-1.
You're taking on the Central Division teams.
Yeah, we tied it up. No goal on goal coach's review, and give up an empty netter. The game was a lot closer than the score says. I think it's going to be interesting, and I think maybe the Buffalo can go pull out a win in Dallas.
And if you like the Buffalo-St. Louis game from Thursday night, they play each other again on Monday night.
Yes.
So if you like the Buffalo and any Central Division team matchups, they're pretty close together this year.
Yeah.
Colby and I'll be watching. My game will actually be occurring on the 22nd, so I believe that's Sunday. San Jose versus Pittsburgh. It may not be such a hot game on paper. Paul Martin returns to Pittsburgh after a 5-season tenure there. So, I mean, that'll be a good thing.
That's Saturday, buddy.
Is it Saturday?
Yeah,
I'm looking at my dates
I'm working
here.
on Sunday the 22nd.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's the Saturday game, San Jose and
Do
Pittsburgh.
I have it on the wrong slot?
Sunday is
I have
San Jose
I have
and
it on the wrong
Columbus.
slot in my thing then.
Well, hey, you
man,
can watch Sunday.
Whatever
San Jose
day
and
they
Columbus.
play, it's going to be special, but I'm not going to watch it because I got homework.
Well, probably because San Jose's going to win both games, let's be honest. They're second in the Pacific Division. They're on a winning streak. And that is all I have to say.
But
Other
still,
than-
Paul Martin returning will be a special thing, though.
Other than our T-shirts look awesome.
You're welcome.
So, Colby, the quote marketing head, or he likes to think he is. No, I'm kidding. Colby Kephart here has a special knack for getting people in touch with the right people and pulling off some wonderful T-shirts that we are wearing, or at least I am. And we'll have details on giveaways and or when we order more to give away and all kinds of things. So check that out. From everyone here at Down the Frozen River, Colby Kephart, Connor Keith, I'm Nick Lanciani. Have a good one, and we'll see you after the Thanksgiving break right here on downthefrozenriver.com.